Hey, friend, grab your coffee because we are about to get honest. Well, today's topic is kind of a piggyback off of a topic that I shared a few weeks ago. And I had some people express their want for me to kind of further go into boundaries and just unpack that a little bit more. So that's what today is. We are setting godly boundaries without guilt. So, this was a big one for me that I have had to walk through and learn. And so, I just want to share this because some have expressed either either for you it's been difficult to sort out boundaries and what does it look like, and how do you implement them without feeling guilty. So, if you feel overwhelmed, resentful, or quietly overwhelmed in your relationships, this might be why. You don't have a love problem, you have a boundary issue. And today we are going to talk about how to set godly boundaries without guilt so you can love well, lead well, and live well. For a long time, I believed being a good Christian woman meant always saying yes. Yes to helping, yes to showing up, yes to absorbing other people's emotions. See, I want to help others. But what I noticed, and I had a good friend tell me this, that they noticed that I get too involved with other people's emotions and I take it on and it becomes a part of me, which is not healthy. And it has a huge impact on me. And I realized that, but I didn't know how to get out from under that. So we're going to talk about that. Slowly, I became depleted. I could not function. I was trying to function in my own life, but then taking on other people's emotions. I thought, no, no. So I really couldn't handle very much without an emotional response. And honestly, it wasn't because I didn't care about people, because I greatly care about people, but because I had no guardrails on protecting my own heart. And what I've learned is this: boundaries are not unloving. Boundaries are good stewardship of our own hearts. We have to have boundaries in every relationship we have. If we are giving people so much space in our hearts, that's not going to be good. So we have to understand where is our guardrails so that we're not getting outside of where we're supposed to be and actually causing more harm to somebody else than good, or causing more harm to ourselves. So let's define this clearly. A boundary is not control over someone else's behavior. It is clarity about what you will not participate in. This one's really hard. And I know when I first started talking about boundaries and exploring that, I could not understand, oh, it's about me. Because I was so focused on what the other person was doing, I had no clue what I was doing and how I was contributing to the problem. So the boundary is not trying to control somebody else's behavior. It's just setting up a guardrail, saying, I am not going to participate in that kind of, and then you fill in the blank. Even Jesus had boundaries. where he got away from people. He got away from the crowd. He went to a place where he could pray. He went to a place where he could be with God. So it's okay to take time. It's okay to put up boundaries and say no. So we're going to talk about some steps in implementing this. Step 1, identify where you feel resentment. Resentment is often the alarm bell of a missing boundary. Isn't that fascinating? I swear this getting to know myself is so fun. And you'll enjoy getting to know yourself too as you keep walking and unfolding how and why you do what you do. So resentment, oftentimes we have expectations of others, and it could be because there's an alarm going off of a boundary that is being crossed. Or maybe you don't even know that there should be a boundary. So you need to ask yourself, where do I feel drained? Where do I feel unseen? And where do I feel pressured? It's not selfish awareness, it's emotional intelligence. Okay, step 2, communicate clearly and calmly. Boundaries are not dramatic announcements. They are simple, steady statements. One thing you do not want to do is start yelling at somebody and telling them how they're going to act. Your boundary and how you express how you will respond speaks volumes. Clear, calm. What you can say is, I'm not available for that. I need space to think about this. I won't continue this conversation if voices are raised. You don't need to over-explain. Over-explaining is usually guilt talking. So just remember, when you are trying to explain your boundary, you don't have to go into elaborate detail explaining anything. No is a complete sentence. And then step 3, expect discomfort and stand firm anyway. When you're not used to implementing or setting boundaries, and when you first start to go to speak it out, it's going to feel so uncomfortable. And then you're going to wonder, okay, am I doing this right? And sometimes the other party, the other person, when they're not used to you having boundaries and you speaking up for yourself, they are going to be upset. And they may try to talk you into something different. So just expect that there is going to be discomfort, but you do need to stand firm and be true to you. So here's the hard truth. When you start setting boundaries, people who benefited from you not having boundaries will resist them terribly. That doesn't mean you're in the wrong. It doesn't mean that what you're doing is bad. It just means the dynamic is shifting. Guilt may show up, but guilt is not always conviction. Sometimes it's growth. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth is not easy. But your process, you getting to know you, it'll all get better. I promise. So many of us learned early that love meant over functioning. That being needed equaled being valued. But you are valuable because you are God's daughter. Not because you exhaust yourself for others. but because you are God's child. A healed heart understands that boundaries protect intimacy, that they don't destroy it. So in marriage, a boundary could sound like, I'm willing to talk about this, but not while you're yelling. A boundary in friendship could look like, I care about you, but I can't be your only emotional outlet. And in leadership or in ministry work, a boundary could look like, I need 48 hours before committing to this. Boundaries are clarity. They are not cruelty. Boundaries are not meant to inflict pain on someone else. The boundary is for you, for your heart. So this week, I want you to identify one relationship where resentment has been growing. And ask yourself, what boundary is needed? Write it out, practice saying out loud, calmly. And remember, your peace matters. And if you're ready to go into deeper identity work, confidence, and bold faith leadership work, I would love to walk with you, because boundaries are a part of mature leadership as well. So in closing, I want to leave this with you. You are not selfish for protecting your heart. You are wise, you are growing, and you are leading. And in the scripture, it talks about where God tells us to guard our hearts, because everything from that flows out of our hearts. It is okay to put a guardrail around certain relationships, still interact with your relationships and love on people, but know where you end and that other person begins. So next week, we are going to talk about something even deeper. We're going to talk about forgiveness and how to release what's been weighing down your heart. One thing, one relationship that you need to put a boundary on. That is this week's homework. I pray that you have a wonderful week. I pray that you start thinking about where you feel resentment and where you need boundaries, and how you can start implementing and speaking them out in love to those around you. Have a wonderful week. God bless.